Finn Balor has turned heel. Finally. Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Cameron Kelly Smith. Be sure to hit that subscribe and notification button to stay tuned on the content I produce each and every week in the world of wrestling and movie related discussions. So AEW went up against WWE NXT for week number 4, and we've started to get a real idea, whether you're new to the shows or whether you are very familiar with the shows, of what we're starting to get an idea of what these shows are and what they're becoming, and things are picking up. We're seeing how AEW is forming on its 4th week. We're seeing how NXT is doing in regards to, going up against AEW. I personally think that the big issue with both shows at the moment is that one show is doing something well that the other show isn't doing well, and then one show is doing something well that the other show isn't doing well. And here's why I think that. First and foremost, I'll be very, very honest in saying that I prefer AEW. A big reason for that is because I've been burnt out with the WWE product. I've been very frustrated with the WWE product. And NXT, though it is better than what we're seeing on the main roster, there still is a lot of issues with it that is somewhat WWE issues, if that makes sense. With AEW, I'm a big fan of what they've been doing. Last week, I wasn't too keen on that episode. I thought it was very wrestling orientated. And before people start jumping on me about that, let me just explain, because I found the same this week. It was very wrestling orientated. I think the thing that is missing for me with AEW programming right now is angles and storylines. And I know immediately people are going to say, well, they have been doing that. They've been doing, they've got the stuff with Cody and Jericho, or you have MJF slightly creeping in there. You have, Pac, and Moxley that happened this week, and obviously Pac and Hangman and blah, 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 Kenny, Moxley. But I just think that in terms of angles, like actually well-written stories, like what I would see on other TV shows, just hasn't played in there yet. And wrestling is unique because a big thing that at least attracted me to wrestling when I was younger is the wacky and big storylines and crazy angles, but angles that are done well. Not the cheesy stuff we're seeing now with WWE, like, Lana and Rusev and Bobby Lashley, which is absolutely terrible. But I think that's what is missing personally for me with AEW. I want to see some storylines, some angles. Now, that being said, I thought this week's episode was fantastic. It feels like a grown-up product. This feels like a product that me, as now a mature wrestling fan in my 20s, this feels like the product for me. This feels like something that's a bit more realistic, a bit more of a sporting vibe. It's not an insult to my intelligence. It respects my intelligence. And that's why I'm a big fan of what they're doing. I love the time limit stuff. I love the fact that, for example, Moxley and Pac ended in a draw because TV time had run out. I think that's really realistic. And Jim Ross, which I think did a really good job on commentary personally, he really does help you delve into the fact of making you believe that this is real. The urgency of them having to make the time limit. The fact that people say, well, why would you want to win? It's fake wrestling, right? Well, he brings attention to that, Jim Ross, in saying, well, the person that wins gets more money. Simple as. So you want to win to get a bigger paycheck. You want to win so you can have that win column, and that way you're even more closer to getting a championship opportunity, which I think is really, really good. But big angles and storylines is what I'm missing a bit with AEW. Big respect to the tag team division, but for example, the show started with 2 tag team matches back to back, and sometimes I think when you have such a great tag team match like what we did at the beginning with the Lucha Bros and SCU, we could kind of have something that's a slight break in that rather than another tag team match, but oh well. NXT for me has the angles. It has the big storyline. Obviously, the big talking point from last night being that Finn Balor has officially turned heel. It's about damn time. That character was dead on the main roster, quite frankly, because of WWE and their terrible booking, but now he's back. I love how sleek that little angle looked, where Finn Balor's like taking off his jacket and he quickly hits, Johnny Gargano with the Pele kick. I thought that just looked really sleek, the way he did it so quickly. Great. I'm really looking forward to see how he progresses as a heel within that system, within that show, and how the demon factors into it as well. I'm very excited. We'll be very interested to see if he becomes a new leader then of Undisputed Era, or if he's going to be by himself, because That'll be interesting how that can mesh with Adam Cole and the rest of the crew. But I think that NXT, similar to the WWE main roster stuff, is missing what AEW is doing right, and that is intelligent booking, intelligent writing, intelligent storytelling. Not to say that AEW's perfected this, because as I said, they haven't, but just respecting my intelligence a little bit and not being too wacky is what AEW is doing that NXT is doing wrong. However, NXT has got the big angles and they ended on a big angle, and it'll be interesting to see the ratings for this week to see what it was. I think AEW will come out winning again, but this angle, how this show ended, is going to cause for a big viewership, at least in that first hour come next week on NXT. So guys, let me know what you thought about this week's NXT and AEW. Jump down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give me a big fat thumbs up. Thank you very much for checking out my video, guys. Have a good day.